All right, so this past weekend
Yeah.
in the NFL playoff
Divisional round.
divisional round, that's right. It was pretty wild, huh?
Yeah, it really was. A lot of people
Okay.
thought there were going to be blowouts.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at it on paper, you think, oh, this is going to be a quick weekend.
Right.
But every single game had
Yeah.
at least moments where you're
Just like,
like,
yeah.
ooh, is this going to happen? Is the underdog going to pull it off?
Yeah.
So we're going to recap all of it for you.
Yeah.
Let's dive
It
in.
was a great weekend.
Let's start with Bills and the Ravens.
Yeah.
Bills ended up winning 27-25, but wow, close one.
Very close.
I mean,
Very, very close.
if you watch this game,
Yeah.
fourth quarter,
Uh-huh.
you're biting your nails.
You're on the edge of your seat. Absolutely.
The Ravens just kept it close. I mean,
Yeah, they did. Their quarterback he was moving all over the place.
oh, he was slippery.
Slippery, extending plays.
Yeah.
Escaping pressure.
Almost looked like they were going to,
It looked like they were going to tie it up at the very end.
yeah.
But the Bills credit to them.
They really stepped up.
They did.
So was this just a lucky day for them?
I don't think so.
Or is that Bills defense really that good?
I think it's a combination of things. I think the Bills were sending a lot of pressure.
Okay.
They seem to have the Ravens' offensive line kind of confused all game long.
Really?
5 sacks,
Wow.
2 forced fumbles.
All right, so they were getting to the
They
quarterback.
were all over him.
All right, so the Ravens,
Yeah.
they made some mistakes.
I think they did. Yeah, they had some uncharacteristic mistakes, some dropped passes, missed blocks.
Right, stuff they don't usually do.
Stuff they don't usually. They're a very well-coached team.
Right.
So, I think it was a little bit of both.
Okay, so Eagles, Rams. This one had a lot of people talking.
Yeah.
The Eagles end up beating the Rams 28-22, but I heard the Eagles quarterback was just incredible.
Oh, he was unbelievable.
Is that hype real?
It's real. It's real. That 45-yard bomb he threw to
Oh.
receiver's name in the first quarter,
I know.
that kind of set the tone for the whole game.
Yeah.
The Rams just never seemed to really adjust to his ability to scramble and extend plays,
Right.
He finished the game with over a 70% completion percentage, even when he was under pressure.
Oh, wow. That's hard to do.
That's tough. That is tough to do.
I did hear that the Rams didn't just
No,
lay down and die.
they did not.
They made a bit of a comeback attempt.
Yeah, the Rams are tough.
Yeah.
Their quarterback, he's known for not giving up
Yeah.
2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to make it a 1-possession game.
Oh. So it did get close at the end.
It got very close.
Okay.
But the Eagles, they played it smart. They used their running game to kind of control the clock.
Okay.
They didn't make those crucial mistakes
Smart.
that would let the Rams back in it.
Okay.
It seemed like they were in control pretty much the whole time.
So is that just the Eagles playing well or the Rams making errors or a little bit of both?
I think it was mostly the Eagles. They came in, they had a plan,
Right.
and they executed.
It. Yeah.
Their defense played well.
Yeah.
Their offense was clicking.
So then we get to this game, Commanders and Lions.
Yeah.
Commanders take it down 45-31.
Yep.
If you just looked at that score, you'd think, oh, blowout.
Right. Run away.
Not even worth watching.
Yeah.
Not necessarily true.
No, not at all. This game was a lot closer than that final score suggests.
Okay.
For the first half of the game,
Yeah.
it was just back and forth.
Oh,
Back and forth. Both teams were just trading touchdowns.
Right, so we got a lot of points.
A lot of points.
Was it actually a strategically interesting game, though?
Oh, absolutely.
What was going on with the play calling?
So the Commanders head coach, he really opened up the playbook.
Okay.
Trick plays, deep throws. They were really keeping the Lions defense on their toes.
Nice.
But the Lions, they were keeping pace. Their quarterback was slinging it all over the field. It was really fun to watch for that first half.
Wow, so a real shootout.
Shootout, absolutely.
So second half, what happened? Did the Lions just run out of gas?
It wasn't so much that the Lions faded. I think it was more that the Commanders running back, he just kind of took over the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had almost 200 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns in the second half alone.
Wow, that's a lot.
The Lions just had no answer for him.
Wow. All right, so Commanders looking
Looking pretty good.
pretty strong. You think they got a real shot
I think they're looking strong.
at the Super Bowl?
Their offense is definitely one of the most explosive in the league.
Okay.
But they're going to need to tighten up that defense if they want to go all the way.
Okay, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. Okay, then we get to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
To take down the Texans, 23-14.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people thought this would be a blowout.
Yeah. Looking at it on paper, you would think
Texans kept it close, though.
They did. They did give them credit. Their defense played really well.
Okay.
They kept that Chiefs high-powered offense in check for most of the game.
So was that just the Texans playing really well, or are the Chiefs a little vulnerable?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, the Texans deserve some credit.
Yeah.
But let's be real, the Chiefs just didn't seem like they were playing at their full potential.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Their offense is known for being explosive, and we didn't really see that this weekend.
Yeah, the quarterback, he didn't have that many yards.
Yeah, he threw for less than 200 yards. They only scored 1 touchdown in the first 3 quarters.
Wow.
But here's the thing about the Chiefs. They always find a way to win, even when they're not playing their best.
Yeah, you're right. It seems like
They've got that championship mentality.
yeah, they just figure it out.
Yeah, they just figure it out.
So you think they could still win it all?
I wouldn't count them out. I mean,
Even with an off day like this?
yeah, they've got the talent, the experience, they got the coaching to make a deep run in the playoffs.
So we've talked about all 4 games now.
Yeah,
Divisional round.
a lot of great football.
Some real surprises.
Yeah.
What, for you, was the biggest surprise of the weekend?
I think the biggest surprise for me was how resilient the Rams were against the Eagles.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, they ultimately lost, but they could have easily given up when they were trailing in that second half.
Yeah.
But they fought back, made it a really close game.
Okay, so real grit from them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any players in particular just stand out to you?
I mean, we talked about the Eagles quarterback, but I think the Commanders running back deserves a shout out.
Okay.
I mean, he was practically unstoppable against the Lions.
Wow. So if the Commanders' running game is going, they're going to be tough.
Very tough.
Okay. Bills' defense, we were talking about them earlier. Real deal or just a lucky day?
I think they're the real deal. That defensive line is one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
They were getting pressure on the quarterback all game long.
Right.
Plus, they've got a very talented secondary.
Right.
Yeah, so I think teams that are going to be facing them
Yeah.
in the next round,
They better watch out.
they're going to have to be very creative on offense, find ways to protect their quarterback, get the ball out quick.
Right.
Otherwise, that Bills defense is going to be all over them.
All right. Speaking of the next round, who do you think's looking strongest right now?
I think the Eagles and the Chiefs are still the teams to beat.
Okay.
I mean, they've both got experienced quarterbacks, talented rosters, great coaching staffs.
Yeah.
But I think the Bills and the Commanders are right there with them.
Okay.
So it's going to be a very exciting championship round.
You mentioned earlier that the Chiefs weren't playing at their full potential.
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
Well, for starters, their offense wasn't nearly as explosive as we've come to expect. I mean, they only scored 1 touchdown in the first 3 quarters, and their quarterback didn't make any of those highlight reel throws that we're used to seeing.
So you think it was just an off day, or is there something more to it?
It's tough to say for sure. I mean, maybe they were overlooking the Texans a little bit, or maybe they're just saving their best for the later rounds of the playoffs.
Okay, yeah.
But either way, they're going to need to step up their game if they want to win another Super Bowl.
You mentioned them overlooking the Texans. Do you think that's a common problem for these teams that are kind of considered the favorites?
It can be. Yeah, it's easy to get complacent when you're expected to win every game.
Right.
But the best teams are the ones that stay focused.
Right.
Treat every opponent with respect.
All right, so what can the Chiefs do to avoid falling into that trap?
Well, their coaching staff needs to keep them grounded.
Okay.
Remind them that every game is a battle. They can't afford to take any opponent lightly.
Yeah.
Plus, they need to keep pushing themselves in practice, make sure they're always striving to improve.
So it sounds like the mental game is just as important as the physical game at this point in the season.
Absolutely. I mean, when you get to the playoffs, every team's talented.
Yeah.
It's the teams that are mentally tough
Yeah.
and can handle the pressure that ultimately succeed.
We've talked a lot about the teams that won this weekend.
Uh-huh.
I want to take a moment to talk about the teams that lost, especially the Texans.
Yeah.
They came into the playoffs a huge underdog, and while they didn't pull off the upset, they still put up a good fight against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the Texans.
Okay.
They played with a lot of heart and determination.
Yeah.
Never gave up.
Yeah.
I mean, they proved that they belong in the conversation with the top teams in the league.
It seems like they're on the right track.
Yeah.
What do they need to do to take that next step to become a real contender?
Well, they need to continue to build their roster.
Okay.
They've got a solid core of young players, but they need to add some more depth,
Okay.
especially on defense.
Okay. What about their coaching? Do you think they have the right people in place?
I think so. Their head coach has done a great job of developing their young talent,
Yeah.
and he's instilled a winning culture in that locker room.
Yeah.
but I think he's going to need some more help from his assistants.
Okay.
Maybe bring in some guys with some playoff experience.
Right. Okay. So biggest takeaway for the Texans from this playoff run.
I think the biggest takeaway is that they're not that far away from being a Super Bowl contender.
Wow.
They've got the talent, the coaching, the right attitude.
Okay.
If they can stay healthy
Right.
and make a few smart moves in the offseason,
Right.
they could be a very dangerous team next year.
All right. So we covered a lot of ground today.
We did.
From the Eagles' impressive victory to the Texans' valiant effort.
Yeah.
But before we wrap things up, I want to leave you with something to think about. We talk a lot about like the X's and O's, the plays, the strategy.
Right.
But the thing that really struck me this weekend, the energy of the fans.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you see those crowds? It felt like every single stadium.
Electric.
Electric, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's got to be, we're watching it at home, and it feels electric.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it's like to be there.
And what's so interesting is how much that actually impacts the game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could feel the momentum shift in those stadiums when the home crowd really got going.
Totally. Like in that Bills game.
Oh, yeah.
It was so loud in there you could barely hear yourself think.
Right, and that seemed to really rattle the Ravens.
Yeah.
Think about it. You're a quarterback on the road, you're trying to call a play, and you can't even hear your own teammates. That's got to mess with your head.
Yeah. And on the flip side, when your home crowd is roaring, it's just got to give you such a boost.
No question. Home field advantage is a real thing in the NFL, and the fans, they play a huge role in creating that.
I think that's what makes the NFL so special. I mean, the passion of these fans is just unmatched.
And you see that passion everywhere. It's not just in the stadiums. It's in the tailgate parties, the watch parties, the online forums. I mean, people live and breathe the sport.
So as you're following the rest of these playoffs, don't just focus on the players and the coaches.
Yeah.
Take a moment to appreciate the fans.
Yeah.
They're a huge part of what makes this so great.
Absolutely. Without the fans, the NFL would just be a bunch of guys running around on a field.
Well said. Well said. All right. I think we covered it all. Talked about all 4 divisional round games.
We did.
The standout performances, even the role of the fans.
Yeah.
You're officially all caught up, ready for your water cooler conversation tomorrow.
And hopefully we've given you some food for thought.
Always the goal.
As these playoffs continue.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
Absolutely.